Hi, my name's Isaac, and welcome back to the mostly annual, at this point, Alpha Shark Christmas review of a GMC Sierra Denali. I know, that name is a lot, but my marketing team is hard at work creating something a little bit more palatable. In the meantime, though, this is a 2024 Sierra Denali, and around Christmas time every year, I've made it an unofficial tradition to review one of these things. Though, I guess now that I'm talking about it, it has to be an official tradition. Well, all right, I'm locked in. This is what I do at Christmas now. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Jones GMC for allowing me to borrow this vehicle to review. For all your GMC needs in the Lancaster, Pennsylvania area, I'll leave a link to Jones's website in the description below. Isn't that how all good family traditions start, though? You do something together once, and you have so much fun doing it that you continue that tradition through the years. I, for one, have had so much fun reviewing these GMC trucks and replying to your guys' comments. One of my favorites that always crops up every year is $80,000? My first house didn't cost $80,000. Yeah, this is an expensive truck, but at this point, I'm pretty sure this could be your house. I mean, this thing has features that nothing in my house does. I don't have one ventilated seat in my house, and this has two. Anyway, starting out up front here, you will have a massive chrome grille with a camera for the 360-degree camera system built in. You'll also get parking sensors up front, two tow hooks, and full LED headlights with LED daytime running lights. And there's LED fog lights way at the bottom of the front end. Moving underneath the hood in this Denali, it's powered by General Motors' old reliable 6.2-liter V8, making 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. If this engine had to be described in a sound effect, I think it would be... I know that's not a way that people normally describe things, I just really wanted to use that noise. Just listen to this thing start up. You'll agree with me. Moving to the profile of this foul beast. Do you ever just say something and then you think to yourself, wow, I think that was the first time in human history anyone has ever used that combination of words together? I think about that a lot because I say a lot of weird things. Starting down here at the wheels and tires, you're gonna get 275 50 Bridgestones around these 22-inch chromed out wheels. And then moving up here, this has a 6.2-liter V8 badge on the side, and then a partially matte black plastic, partially chrome mirror cap with an LED light right here, an LED light right here, and a camera right there. It also has blind spot monitoring. They are power adjusting and power folding. Moving to the door handle, this has keyless entry. So if you have the key in your pocket, you could just tap the button, and then tapping it again will unlock it. So very practical. Opening the doors, you can see this does have power running boards, which are very cool. Unless, of course, you are setting your tripod up to film and you accidentally knock your tripod over with the power running boards because you didn't know they were there. Ask me how I know. Opening the rear doors also opens the running board, which is very convenient. And there is another trick with these. You can tap this side button and they will fold to the rear to give you better access up into the bed. There are a lot of gimmicks on this truck, but they're all practical. They really do end up being useful. So you tap that and that's gonna fold back into place right there. There is another step up into the bed right here. Again, very nice. And then you'll have parking sensors on the rear, Denali and Sierra badges, giant GMC logo right here. backup camera, and a puddle light. And then this has GMC's multi-function tailgate design. So if I tap this top button right here, that's gonna fold just the upper portion of the tailgate down, and I can pull this, and that will actually give me a little bit of a bed extension right there. And then if I close this up, I can lower it as a traditional tailgate, but that's boring. There's one more cool thing we can do. If we hit both buttons, that's gonna unlock the top and the bottom, and then folding this out again gives us a step up into the bed. And higher trims of the Denali also have an optional kicker sound system right here, so you can really have an awesome tailgate. Now, this is very easy to get up into the bed, but they make it even easier with this built-in grab handle that locks into place. I think that's really cool and a nice addition. You also get tie downs. It says Denali sprayed into the bed liner right there, and you get a household outlet right here and LED bed lights. So, one more thing up here, one more thing. I always forget to mention this, but I'm not going to. There is a camera right here. There's actually two. One is for the rear view mirror cam, and the other one is for the bed camera. We'll talk about those a little bit more when we move to the interior. Before stepping inside, I wanted to talk about the key quick. It's got lock, unlock, panic, remote start. So we tap lock, double tap that. That's very convenient, and you have the ability to lower the tailgate from here. It only lowers in the traditional sense. It doesn't lower with the upper portion, though it's still really nice that the functionality is there. Moving to the interior of the 2024 Denali, it is very nice in here, and there is a whole heck of a lot of features to talk about. So let's get started. We'll talk about the door panel first. This is soft touch up here. This wood grain texture is really cool because it turns from like a light brown to a darker black color, almost like it's charred, and you get that same texture on the front glove box area too. Maybe they accidentally burned a bunch of their wood for these trucks and went, oh, drats, we can't use this. Wait a minute, people will think it's artsy if we install it. No, I imagine that was a purposeful choice. This is soft touch down here too. You'll get your window controls, a Denali badge right there, just in case you forgot what you own. And then you'll have your mirror controls and the button for the power folding right there. And then you'll have lock, unlock, and then your memory settings for the seats. And then there's a little button right here with an arrow coming out of a car. I am not 100% sure what that button is right now, but Editing Isaac does know what that button does. Take it away, Isaac. Okay, so apparently this is General Motors' easy exit system. So in combination with the memory seats, when you turn the vehicle off, the seats will back up to make it easier to get out of the vehicle. Interesting. Not as exciting as I thought that would have been. Right here, you'll have your electronic parking brake and your four-wheel drive settings, as well as your lighting controls and the controls for the heads-up display. Turning on the car, you can see it displayed here on the windshield. Right now, it's projecting a digital speedometer and the follow distance for the radar-guided cruise control, but there are a few other minor things that pop up on there as well. This also has a digital gauge cluster, which is controlled by buttons on the steering wheel right here. There's a few different things you can toggle through. One of my favorite features is that you can actually set what you want displayed on each of the sides of this digital gauge cluster. I like that they take advantage of this being a screen and give you a lot of customization right there. Then you'll have heating incorporated into the steering wheel, your buttons for the radar-guided cruise control and forward collision warning. This is very nicely leather wrapped with stitching in it, and there are paddle shifters at the top of the wheel, but they do not extend all the way down. Below them are the buttons for the volume and channel changing. And then moving down here to the infotainment system, I've said it before and I'll say it again, This is one of the best screens in pickup trucks right now. I think GM has knocked it out of the park. It is very quick, very functional. I hit home, I'm already on the home screen. Very functional. It has built-in Google Assistant, Google Maps. You have, of course, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto for the time being. It sounds like General Motors might be removing the wireless functionality of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay soon because they want people to keep their eyes on the road, and they've, I guess, tested that it's very distracting, which I don't disagree with. There is definitely distraction there. But this screen is very intuitive. It gets everything you need all in one place, and it plays host to this truck's incredible camera system. So I mentioned that bed camera previously. That is displayed right now. It even has a zoom feature if you want to look even closer at something in your bed. But it's not just that. You have backup camera with a top-down view. You have top-down rear camera. You have the side view camera. You have a tow hitch camera. You also have front camera as well. That pops up there. I mean, it is very, very neat, super safe, and these are very crystal clear cameras. I like that General Motors went the extra mile to make sure that they were high quality. And you'd hope they'd be. GMC is professional grade. They really do live up to that name here. Moving further down, you will have your start-stop button, your cooled seats, a little bit of heated, and then a lot of heated seats. Then you'll have your other climate controls right here. Then you will have lane departure warning, parking sensors off for the rear, the auto engine start-stop button. You also have the ability to drop the tailgate from in here, your hazards, traction control off, hill descent control, and the button to lower all four windows in one press. Then you have some storage down here, cup holders, USB and USB-C. That's an interesting placement. And then there is a spot for wireless charging down there. And your shifter is right here. It's kind of on an axis. So if I put my foot on the brake, press this button and pull down, I'm in drive. Pull up, I'm in reverse. That will, of course, display the cameras. And then pressing that button, I'm in park. Then you'll get your trailer brake assist right here. And opening up this massive storage cubby, you'll get USB and USB-C, as well as a household outlet in here. That's very nice to see. Moving up to the mirror, it is a camera, as previously mentioned. That's super helpful if you have people in the back seat, you can't see over them, and you need to see out the back. But if you don't want it to be a camera, it can just flip back into being a normal mirror. Super useful, very cool technology. Moving up here, there are buttons for the sunroof. Now, unfortunately, I've said this every time I've reviewed one of these trucks, there is no option for a fully panoramic moonroof here. You only get the option of a smaller sunroof, which is nice, and I'm glad to have it. But for this price tag, and this being at the echelon of trucks where it stands, the F-150 has the option, the Ram has the option, the Tundra has the option now, but you don't get it here on the GMC or the Silverado. I don't know why that is, but hopefully they will add that in to future trucks, because it feels like they're really behind in that aspect, except they're very progressive in others. It's very strange. That pretty much wraps up the front. Let's take a look at the back. Moving to the rear seats, the wood texture with the hued color continues back here. You also get soft touch material on the armrest, and these seats are equally comfortable. Before I step inside, there's a few things I want to touch on. For one, you can lift them up for some storage underneath and a larger load floor. Then all you have to do is pull them down. So very convenient. You don't have to additionally pull a tab or anything. Some vehicles do that, and it's just not as convenient as being able to pull it up and push it down. Then there is storage in the seat backs. I think that's nice. Not a ton of storage, but what other truck offers you storage inside of the rear seats? And this folds down for 2 cup holders and a spot for a Fiji water. Overall, this second row is very, very spacious. I have quite a lot of room in here, about 5 or 6 inches of legroom and 3 or so inches of headroom. I'm 5'9", and I sit very comfortably back here. And then you also get climate vents, USB and USB-C, and 2 heated seats. Driving the Sierra Denali. Like I said earlier, it does feel very throaty. I love the sound of the engine, and it's a very smooth truck. I think the best compliment I can give it, though, is that you have such a commanding view of the road. I'm sitting so high up, and even though I'm on the level with other F-150s and Silverados, I mean, these trucks just give you such a commanding, really large view, and I love that. Getting on the highway here, we're going to accelerate in a few seconds to see how this thing really handles on the highway, getting up to speed. You know, there's not anything new for the 6.2 liter this year, and I've done quite a lot of these engines, so there's not a ton that I can say other than I like it. It's a fun V8. It's not great on fuel economy, but it gets the job done. So I'm gonna give us a little distance here between this truck, and then we're gonna lay on it. Here we go. Oh, it sounds loud, and then it really gets going. Okay, it picks up fairly quickly, and if you hear that, it is nice. It is really nice. The blind spots are minimal in here. As big of a truck as this is, with all the camera systems, the mirrors, it really does feel safe, and it doesn't feel boaty. I think a lot of large trucks can run into the issue of feeling boaty, but this doesn't. The suspension is really nicer around turns. As I get off the highway here and merge, it doesn't feel toilsome. There's a good use of the word toilsome. I don't say that very often, but it really does handle quite well. Like I said, there's not a ton that I could say about this truck that I haven't already over the years. But if you're looking for a full-size pickup truck and you don't want to go for a turbo V6 or a turbo 4-cylinder, you want that big V8, GM's got you covered with this 6.2 liter. And the hauling, the towing capacity is fantastic, and it's got a lot of really nice amenities in here. The seats are very comfortable. They're not something that I highlighted on the interior, but you do sink into them very nicely, and they are power adjusting as well. So that's pretty much gonna wrap up my brief driving impressions. Well, that's just about gonna wrap up my review of the GMC Sierra Denali, but before I go, I'd like to mention that I'm a Christian, and if you have any prayer requests, I would love to be able to pray for you guys. You can leave those in the comment section below. And lastly, I like to close out on a weekly scriptural reading. This week, because of the festive Christmas season, I figured I will read a sort of Christmas-adjacent verse with Matthew 1, verse 23. This is the angel speaking to Joseph in a dream, telling him that Mary will give birth to Jesus. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which means God with us. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Take care.